And I'm here and we're recording this on Zoom. I'm with Keith Chachkes. And Keith, for anyone that doesn't know you, would you like to tell us everything that you're involved in?
Everything. Wow. You
Everything,
have all
yeah.
day. I'm involved in a lot of stuff. First of all, great to see you. I hope you're good. Happy Sunday. Sunday
Thank
fun
you.
day. Most people know me in the music world, in the music sense. I am the chief editor and owner of ghostcultmag.com, Ghost Cult Magazine. We are 8 years plus running music news, interviews, reviews website. We started out as a zine in the Netherlands, specifically to cover the avant garde and doom scene. So it was like a lot of Desert Fest, Road Burn, a festival called Incubate that is now disbanded and no longer happening. Um, all tomorrow's parties, things like that, like outside of the box, not your typical commercial stuff. I joined in the first 6 months. Within a year, I was owning the whole shebang. We put out 19 digital magazines in about 4 years. And there was a period of time where we were trying to run a full time website and a digital magazine. We kind of discontinued the magazine. I hope to bring it back someday as a quarterly or an annual. I think it's a fun thing to have. We had the first English language interview with Ghost. We had a couple of very hot take interviews with Behemoth, including the big famous one where Nagal dissed all of American death metal and got everybody's underwear bunched up. And so that's what most people know me from. I also work in the corporate world as a social media and digital marketing expert. I've been in the agency side. I've run brands. I work right now with entrepreneurs and small businesses, but still some big client work too, as I can. And in addition to all that, I've kind of taken my two passions of heavy music and marketing, and I've done a lot of teaching and training in the music world for social media advertising, digital marketing, email marketing. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now with search marketing for the first time in a long time, so that's really cool. Get my hands dirty in that world, and dirty is the operative term when it comes to marketing sometimes, but sometimes not. And yeah, I just love my community. I love this community. Happy Hour with Heather, and great to be back.
And you have and that's how I kind of got to know you was through the marketing challenges that you do. And I believe you have a new one coming up.
We do. I can plug it at the end if you like, but we do have a new one. We have built a little community around teaching and training people. There are people out there who teach and train marketing to musical artists for tens of thousands of dollars a month. And we typically charged what I consider to be a very reasonable rate. We used to do 30-day challenges that were very intensive, almost, now I don't want to say college level. I have a couple of degrees and a graduate degree. So they weren't, there was like a range of easy to hard, and they were very in depth. And now we've kind of brought that back a little bit. This is myself and Curtis Dewar, which many of your Happy Hour with Heather folks will know. Curtis Dewar of Dewar PR. He's also a podcaster. He's also a social media expert. He's one of the few actually really competent and good social media users among the publicity community. I find them to not be great at this. And a lot of bands just assume, well, my publicist will do my social media. Wrong. But we're doing these challenges again, and we're doing them at a basically dirt cheap or free level in a way, as a way to sort of get as many people possible in. We're not trying to upsell anything. We did one for the first time in 4 or 5 months. It was a smashing success. I think we had 70 or 80 people, which is much more than we used to have at the higher cost. Now, I think the smaller group was interesting because we were able to give more personal attention, and that is also why it costs a little bit more. But I'm really re-energized by bringing these challenges back, and this next one starts in May, and I'll plug it at the end again.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's really great that you guys are doing a pay what you can model. I think that's really great, especially now, during these times, things are kind of tough on people. So I just think that's really great that you guys are doing this.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot of people hurting, and there's a lot. Our whole community took a real, like a hard hit. Listen, like a lot of people lost their lives, they lost their livelihoods, they have families. So in the context of everything, I've gone 13 months without a show. Yes, it hurts, but like there are a lot of people with worse problems. But in terms of just trying to uplift the most people possible in our scene, and honestly, the stuff that we teach is not only applicable to metal and rock bands. There are people who have joined us from across music and found value in it because there's no rule book on, we pull in experts from the field, other publicists, other social media experts, artists themselves who've had success doing stuff. So, it's easy to say there's no right or wrong way, but there is definitely a way you have been doing it probably that's not helping you, like, oh, I'm stalled with this, or I'm stuck on that, or I don't know how to begin with this. And that's what we're trying to do, help you just get on the road to better knowledge and better practices as a way to help you, get your music out there to the world and make more money.
Yeah, and social media can be very daunting, especially at first when you're first trying to do it the right way. It can seem very overwhelming, especially with so many social media platforms out there. It can feel like a huge thing to take on. And but I have to say, once you get into it and once you start doing it and you start doing it consistently, it does get easier. It does get easier. And it was nice to have you guys there, in the beginning, kind of cheering everybody on and giving like little bite-sized little tasks to do. So it didn't feel so overwhelming. And that's one of the things I really liked about it.
Thank you. I can take very little of the credit for all these nice things you're saying. The pay what you want model comes from Corey Westbrook from Metal Injection, who is Curtis Dewar's podcast partner and now a part of our crew, basically. And I think they also have a social media how-to book out right now. You can look that up on Curtis's page. In terms of the coaching, that's kind of what I do professionally anyway. So I'm a natural teacher. I have taught college classes on social media at places like my alma mater, Boston University, at Emerson College in Boston when I lived there. And I like genuinely, my mother was a teacher, and it's really interesting. She was a dance teacher and a choreographer. And it was very interesting. She used to say that you can show someone how to do something and they'll walk away and know how to do it. But to actually transfer knowledge and teach is a lot deeper and, supportive. You need to be supportive. And so I think that's kind of where this comes from, at least for me, and probably for Curtis too. Like, it's not enough for me to tell you this is right and this is wrong. I want to know that you know how to do it. I want to leave you in better shape than when we met, regardless of whether you came in for free, whether you joined our free Facebook group, the Music Marketing Mixer, whether you found me on Twitter. I do some publicity also. So I've gotten a lot of good word of mouth from bands I work with because I will throw in social media advice for them. I'm like, hey, if we're going to roll this campaign out, here's some advice on social media, just free on top of my work. So we do this thing accordingly,
Yeah. Yeah. You guys really do great work, and you work with a lot of bands and a lot of, like you said, people that aren't in bands like me. I'm not in a band, but I found a lot of value, and I really, just from sitting back and watching everything, I have a lot of admiration for what you're doing.
Thanks. Like we also work with small businesses and brands. And so even, you came in, just kind of discovered us as a fan and kind of followed along like we're some kind of weird Pied Piper for people. But I'm very proud of your success. I'm very proud to know you and work with you and what you've done with this little group. We have our mixer group about the same amount of time. We started our music marketing group for free the same time as this group started. They're about the same number of followers, give or take. And, it's been, the goal has been just, to grow this cool community. I appreciate what you're doing, giving people a chance to come on and share their stories and communicate. And it's not a spammy group at all. It's like really a cool community where everybody kind of supports everybody. And it feels like a lot of people are engaged, not like they showed up one time to do their thing and then rabbited. People a part of it, which I like a lot for you guys.
Yeah, that whole sense of, and like I've told you before, that the challenge that really resonated with me was the building the community. And I know you were a big part of that. And that's the one that really resonated with me. And that's honestly, I would have never, if it wasn't for that, I never would have even attempted to have a Facebook group, you know. But that whole building a community really resonated with me. And the underground music community is just something that's really close to my heart. And we just wanted to give, we just wanted to have a platform for artists and musicians just to have a place for them to share their work and for everyone to cheer them on and, you know, support each other, a place where we could just support each other. And it it started really teeny tiny small and it's just very gradually more and more people are joining, and it's starting to build. And it's taken a year, it's taken a long time for it to get any kind of momentum going, but it's very slowly building. And I'm really happy that people are getting enjoyment out of it.
Nice. It really is about building your tribe, whoever you are, a small business, just a person that's a supportive scene person. If you're in booking clubs, if you have a band, if you have a record label, if you do a zine or a blog or a vlog, it is really about finding your tribe. And you mentioned earlier the daunting task of social media. Listen, even for me, a supposed expert, and I am an expert, but I like to say supposed. I you know, my boss in the last agency job I had, even though it almost killed me mentally and emotionally, to be in a big place, I had like 600 clients at once, and I definitely wasn't functioning well by the end. And I definitely do better with like 6 to 12 clients, like right now. And so, but he's like, we should change your business card to say like social media motherfucker. And I was like, I jokingly have like Jedi Master of social media on one of my social media accounts, but not really. It's like I'm always learning. I'm always trying to grow. I spend a certain amount of hours a week on professional development, webinars, reading, listening to podcasts, listening to people smarter than me. So I know how to do that work for myself at Ghost Cult, and also for the challenges, and also for my client work. So it is a daunting task. I love TikTok. If I had no other responsibilities and I just had like 6 to 8 hours a day to create content, plan, script, shoot, post, I would love to be like humongous on TikTok, just because right now it's the thing, but I just don't have the time to invest. So I do a few TikToks a week, and I don't really have time else to kind of, parse it out. But I am a big proponent of find the area or the community or the couple of channels where you're the most comfortable and where you have the easiest road to success. So you personally took yourself out of your own comfort zone, as a fan of the music and a fan of the scene, to try to follow, but also to, gently promote your own business, which you've done nicely. And I know you didn't want to be overly selly, and you're very humble. So I know you don't like really, smash everybody over the head with like, I have a thing to sell you. Like, you're very chill, which I respect. And, you're really good at Twitter. You joined the Twitter community. It probably wasn't the most comfortable space, especially over the last few years, where all social media is a complete dumpster fire and families are splitting apart because of social media posts and comments, and political leaders running amok and almost causing wars and civil wars on social media. So it's a daunting task. It's daunting. You have to pick the channels. You pick a few channels you think you can have some success at, and try, not just because it's trendy to try, but try because that's, or a lot of times your audience will tell you where they live. I have to give a super duper shout out to Lindsay Schoolcraft, the singer and artist, and she formerly of Cradle of Filth, and her current solo career, and her other project Antiqua, which is coming out with a record next year. It's a sort of chamber goth black metal project with superstars from across metal like her. And her audience told her where they were. She didn't know she even had an artist. She had a solo career alongside Cradle that wasn't as prominent as Cradle, because Cradle is one of the most popular black metal-ish bands ever, extreme metal bands ever. And she discovered where her audience was: Twitter, Instagram, and a private group. And that's where she spends a lot of her energy. And she's not trying to jump on a trend and be relevant in another place, because it's going to water down what she's already doing well.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing you guys have always said is, you know, keep it positive. Don't try getting into arguments with people online. It's not going to go well. And, you know, and I know you guys have preached this over and over and over again. Keep it positive, keep it positive, keep it positive. And I tried myself personally, I tried Twitter twice. I tried and quit Twitter 2 times because I mean, I had no clue. I actually, I honestly had no clue what I was doing, and I tried and failed at it twice. And then I took the Twitter challenge, and it just clicked. It's like, oh, you know, we're like way overthinking this. It really is quite simple once you get the hang of it, you know. And I think that's the key, is finding 1 or 2 or 3 platforms that you can do really well at, and just kind of focus on that. And because your time, you can only do so much. And, you know, you can spread yourself really thin over all these different platforms. And to do 1 or 2 of them really well, and to get really good at it, I think that's what's going to help you the most.
Facts. And yeah, Twitter is not for everybody. It is still my favorite social network. Actually, it's the one I've been on the longest. I think arguably I was on MySpace, and you know, I joined Facebook kind of late, to be honest with you, like later than most of my peers. Even though I was in marketing, I kind of like gave my least attention to Facebook initially. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna last. This seems like a different version of MySpace. And Twitter's my favorite, but it's not for everybody. Social media is not for everybody. And there are certain personalities where you just can't, you know, you have to really mete it out to yourself. Just generally as a user, you have to be kind to yourself, because it can be overwhelming, and you don't want to go down a rabbit hole. You doom scroll. By nature, social media is addictive, and it's kind of toxic. So you have to be careful for yourself. Then, okay, I have a brand, or a group, or some kind of group of ideals I'm trying to, you know, espouse, and or I have a brand and I'm trying to promote my brand. You have to be gentle, and you have to be sort of even keel, which is hard. I'm very high strung as a person, and it's easy to get emotional. All these little hits of dopamine. That's why likes are being taken away on Facebook and Instagram, and it's probably going to happen eventually across social. I think LinkedIn is also moving to that. Not that everybody is on LinkedIn, or that's the most applicable to some of the stuff we are talking about, but I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn also for brands and for myself. And I think what they found out was, the experience of people is, if I see a lot of activity on a post, I then want to post on it, because I don't want to miss out. I want to make my voice heard. I want to comment too. I want to jump on this bandwagon too. Then if you take away likes and you just see a post, you have to decide to engage with it because it's relevant to you and engaging itself, or not. And that's a lot better experience in the opinion of Facebook. This is what they see. They think Instagram, you know, has been damaging to people, harmful even to certain groups of people. And so maybe if we take the likes away and people really engage with the content they want to, they'll be more inspired to share and comment, instead of just liking a thing for the sake of liking it. So all interesting stuff. You know, these things keep evolving. Maybe that'll change in another couple of years and they'll bring it back. But it looks like I'm starting to see it. You see your own likes on your posts, but you're not going to see likes on other people's posts anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's so you're engaging with something that, like you said, you relate to. You're engaging with, so you're liking something because you actually like it, not because 600 other people have liked it. Oh yeah, that's interest. That's going to be interesting to see how, if that changes. You know, what we're actually seeing in the algorithm, how that changes our algorithm. That's going to be really interesting to see, because right now I only see posts from a few people.
Right.
You
And
know?
that's the other thing is, don't be afraid. I know there's kind of old school mentality about social media, which is like get as many followers as possible, get a huge following. But the reality is what you really want is it's almost better to have not small, because especially if you have a brand or a band, you're trying to grow, right? But what's more important than the number of followers is how engage, what kind of quality those followers bring. Do you have a dialogue going on with them daily? Are they interested in you really, or did they like you once and they really, and then some people are just lurkers, right? There's different experiences. Some people are very engaged and busy and active on social media all the time without a break. And then some people are just like, they creep in the background. They don't post, or they post very little and they just lurk, and they like to follow the feed and see what whoever they're interested in is up to, which is fine. There's no right or wrong. There's just what's right for you. But at the same time, like I said, I think it's a delicate balance between sort of growing a following if you're trying to promote something, and then also, but having a good quality following, which is also a challenge to build.
Yeah. Engaging with people. And like you said, building your tribe, having that tribe of people that supports you, and you also in turn supporting them, having that community that we were talking about.
Right on. And then generally that's kind of also what I like to do, which is find people who, communities of people, and support them whenever I can, whether it's my own self-interest for heavy music or marketing or whatever else I'm into, animal rescue, things that I care and I'm passionate about. I try to uplift them. If I find a cool brand doing something really cool, there's a animal rescue, I'm not sure if they're an official nonprofit, but they kind of look like one. They're called Arm the Animals, and they donate to shelters and no-kill centers and things like that. And they have clothing. They have a clothing line. That's how they raise money. They create animal welfare clothing, basically, like ethically made and funny designs, like a little kitty cat with a bazooka, like Arm the Animals, right, to defend the animals. So I don't know what else their agenda is, but I'm all about it. I love these cute shirts and masks and hoodies and things, and I like the idea of a portion of the proceeds of something I'm supporting going to help a good cause.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, that's great. Now as far as growing Ghost Cult magazine, on your social networks, would you say, like, I know like YouTube is phenomenal and you put out some great videos on YouTube, and your YouTube subscribers is going up and up. And on Twitter, is that, as far as Ghost Cult magazine is concerned, would you say that's your most successful platform for that too, is Twitter?
It's still probably Facebook, just because even though Facebook is way down now in terms of just across everybody, across the world, the biggest brands in the world are struggling to connect with their audience through Facebook. It's just changed so much. And the reach is so low. Facebook, just by volume, is still probably our number one social network in terms of numbers. Twitter grows slowly. I haven't really put a lot of money into growing our social networks. I know a lot of people will buy followers or entice audiences to like them, and I haven't done that. I'd say our total social media following is between like 40 and 50,000, which is, for like what we are, a top 30 or 40 music website, especially for metal, that's decent. The top ones all have like 1,500,000, and we're at 50,000 on a total footprint. But Instagram is getting up there, almost to 8,000 followers on Instagram. I'm trying to get that 10,000 so we get the swipe up in the stories for free. And thank you about YouTube. I wish I had worked this hard always at YouTube. If I have any regrets in this entire business, that's the one regret. We started very early on YouTube. I think me coming into Ghost Cult, I founded the YouTube channel right away. So within the first year, we started on YouTube, but we didn't really cultivate the channel at all for a long time, because I was like, oh, resources, time, how to make good quality videos. And the main thing that I say to everybody is, regardless of where it is, just start somewhere. Get started, post a little bit, dip your toe in the water. You have to start somewhere. And if you never start, then you never get anywhere. we have worked really hard the last 2 years. We did something, I think we have like, I'm not sure of the exact number of total videos, but like 80% of them are in the last 2 years. And of that 80, like a lot of that was last year. We did like 150 videos in the last year, maybe more. Ever since the pandemic started, we doubled down. We were already YouTubing pretty hard. We got monetized midway through last year, which was awesome. And I'm definitely teaching the YouTube lesson of the upcoming social media challenge, at least. And so we're going to talk about how I did it. You can, just like these videos on Zoom and Instagram and Facebook groups and Facebook Lives, the barrier to entry is low. Now, if you see some of the greatest people on the web with huge accounts, it takes a long time. Just Twitter and YouTube take almost maybe the longest time to grow a following. Maybe you will hit lightning in a bottle and get a viral tweet or a huge video, but most of them are not like that. Most of them are solid, good numbers. Let's say, to make our weekly news show, The Weekly Ritual, that airs every Friday that we put on, there's a lot of work that goes involved. I write a script, I compile all the stories. So I create and produce a story, basically a script to read from and carry out. We then film it. We film it. Basically this, people are familiar with this room or this visual behind me, the kind of the same aesthetic wherever I've been. I've moved around a bunch the last year, but it's always this kind of vibe, even if it's not in this kind of room. And then we edit it, which takes time. My BFF and number 2 at Ghost Call, Omar Cordy, is my video and photo editor and chief, and he does he edits these together. It takes us, let's say, an hour to shoot it, an hour for me to write and craft the script, and then probably several hours of him editing, cutting things together. We've been doing fun stuff. Bands started to send us merch, so we started doing unboxing videos. Actually, I'm wearing my Grave Next Door hat, which Patrick from Grave Next Door sent me a little merch bundle, and with this hat in it, and we did an unboxing video. And now a whole bunch of bands have DM'd me like, "Can I send you some stuff to unbox?" I'm like, "Go right ahead." So we just did Joey Diabolic's box set. I don't know any independent artist that made their own box set collection of stuff, which was incredible, like a little bundle in a box. Very high quality, and we unboxed that. I think that's going to live as a separate video soon on YouTube because it was so much fun to make. So it is involved. We are taking a lot of pains to make it great, but you don't have to. You can actually do these. I know somebody who who now has a big video channel on YouTube, like massive numbers, to like 5, 6, 7 times bigger than Ghost Cole. He just started in the last year, and he's a somewhat connected guy in music, and he just took off. And sometimes his videos are not the greatest quality, but he's just doing videos every day. Like, very impressive stuff. The sheer will to put the time in to do that. And, some of these videos are my band interviews. We just did our very first album review on YouTube. I had shied away from doing it. Ghost Cult does so many album reviews, and I was like, I don't know how they if me talking about an album on camera is going to translate, but we dropped our first one last week. Did pretty well, I think. For us. So that's Tomahawk, Tonic Immobility, probably one of my favorite records this year so far, because I love everything Mike Patton does. Faith No More is one of my favorite bands ever. Mike is one of my favorite artists ever. So we're just trying to, stretch this universe out while not making everything else suffer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you put a lot of work into, they're really well done. I can tell. Yeah, I can tell you put a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time.
It's a lot of hours. We put a lot of premium in it. We have slowly built up our gear, and we don't have the finest gear. There's a lot of better gear out there. There's actually, in most of our videos, there's a list of all our gear with some affiliate links. If anybody's looking to buy some camera or lighting or sound gear, help us out. We'll get a little kickback from it from Amazon or wherever. But we slowly built up enough gear. We have a couple of cool cameras. We got some decent lighting. I love these green lights, are actually very high quality, high pro deal. I bought a new podcast mic. It's off camera, but I have a big sort of boom mic for video that we record a lot of our other video stuff with when I shoot. we started to get into some product commercials. We have an affiliate deal with Liquid Death Mountain Water, so we offer 10% off with our code. So we shot a commercial that's coming out soon for Liquid Death. It's hilarious. I could not stop laughing while making it, and then I just saw an edit of it and I was like crying laughing. So like, it's hysterical. It's like 15 seconds. It's like this. It's going to be on social media. It's going to probably a little, maybe it's even too small to live on YouTube. I'm not sure, but we're going to try. It looks like a TV commercial done by metalheads. So it's really fun. We're just trying to have fun and be as creative as possible. It's really what my whole, vibe has been since this pandemic. It's like, well, I have this whole part of my life, it's like losing my arm, this whole thing, not being able to go out and see bands and not be able to shoot shows and not be able to hang with my friends. So we just circled the wagons and are just being as creative and hardworking as possible.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have kind of been taking this opportunity, not being able to go out. I think a lot of people have been really using this to their full advantage, writing new music and just putting their efforts into creating, just creating. And yeah, I think it's going to be a very prolific time, I think, for a lot of creative endeavors. And it's great. I can't wait to see that commercial. I can't wait to see it.
It's really funny. It's funny. I'm in it for a second. I'm barely in it. We shot like hours. We did a big product shoot where we shot the cans. Liquid Death sent me like a couple of cases of their stuff, the mountain spring water and the sparkly water. I'm a huge sparkling water fan. So it's like seltzer is like my favorite thing almost to drink. And beside coffee, which you see me imbibing a lot of water and coffee here. I was like, my roommates are out of town and I was like moshing around my living room last night. I got like gave myself a bangover because I'm starting to get too old for this shit. But I had like a couple of beers and I was watching a Phil Anselmo Pantera live stream last night and like around my living room. So like I'm dehydrated today. I'm like drinking water and sipping coffee. But yeah, I like the product and I love those guys. I had actually done some Ghost Cult stories about Liquid Death, because I don't know if people know this. They put out like, so Liquid Death's thing is, right, first of all, it's like recyclable. The plastic waste is out of control. It's a California company. So obviously that's important to them is, climate change and things like that. You can see evidence of it here in the state. But also, they do a lot of their marketing and advertising because they have a lot of hate mail and hatred on social media. So they basically make ads and advertising campaigns out of hateful posts and tweets. Then they went further and they made 2 musical albums with lyrics and song titles based on like hateful tweets and social media posts that they also used in their ads. So it's called Greatest Hates Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 is a death metal and extreme metal album, mostly written, composed, and produced by Gus Rios. People know him. He toured with Death. He was in Massacre and a bunch of other bands. And he's in Gruesome right now with Matt Harvey from Exhumed. And then they did a punk album with a bunch of punk legends, like basically punk all-stars, making a punk album also about hatred against the brand, Greatest Hates. So we helped promote that with Ghost Cult. And then they were like, hey, do you want to be an affiliate? We see you talk about us a lot. I was like, dude, I love Liquid Death. Let's do something. So they gave us a discount to offer. And now I'm just trying to like maybe, they share whenever you tag them in something, they usually share it. So we've gotten shared by them a few times. I'm hoping this commercial like tickles their funny bone or something and they share it on their account. That would be fun. I don't have any expectations, just like anything else. Here's a fun thing to discuss, sort of the game, the mental game, the mental gymnastics of social media. I do a lot of interviews. I interview bands constantly. It's one of my joys. I really care about it. I care about doing a good job. I never wing it. I always come prepared with research. And I've had like maybe 2 bad interviews out of thousands in 15 years of doing this, which is, I like to think is a credit to me. I try not to be a dick. There's a lot of people who will like get somebody and they can't wait to ask some dickweed question and to try to get on Blabbermouth and get a clickbait headline out of somebody. So I do a lot of interviews and, it matters to me to try to bring some, depth to the, I'm trying to share somebody's story, whether I'm familiar with that band that well or not. I try to come prepared. So it's one of these things. We part of our channel has grown, some of our interviews take off. So here's the social media part of it. Some of them, we just put them out in the universe and they take off and they get shared by stuff. But just like most music journalists, you can't always count on the band or the record label to share the thing you did. They just want to know that you did it. There's a sort of a trade, a respect trade, but they don't always share your stuff. So, or they don't always take off. So like some of my videos barely get seen, even with huge people. And sometimes my videos, like my current Cannibal Corpse interview, exploded. Like they didn't really share it. I think the label shared it. Really cool. Shout out and love to Metal Blade and the long relationship I have with them. But they shared the post. I don't even think the band has really shared it. And it's gotten like 8,000 views, which for me is a very high number. It's in my top 5 in 2 weeks. It went from going live to in my top 5 videos ever. I think our number 1 video ever is High Lung, which I have one of the few in-depth, long-form interviews with the band in the world. Lucky me. They were here in America for a short sold-out tour right before the pandemic. That was actually my first show of 2020 was High Lung. And then our second biggest interview is Jinx. I have one of the few interviews in the whole world with Jinx Dawson of Coven. And that is also a banger. And she was incredible. I spent a day with her. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I get comments every week on that video. Like, oh my God, she's a babe. How does she still look this good at 70 something? She started when she was 19, but like, yeah, it's 50 years plus in her music career. And a lot of people upset about the devil. A lot of people, you guys should seek help for putting out this video. You guys need to really consult Jesus and your spiritual advisor. You guys need Jesus. Oh my God, Jesus, you will only do Jesus and God will you find the way. It's hilarious because they're freaked. They're scared of her. They're scared of a person talking about like, you know, the opposite side. They just can't they can't even fathom it. It's frightening to them. And I post almost every message. You know, like anything truly hateful, obviously anything racist, homophobic, misogynist, no, fucking no. I don't post those comments. I've been posting a lot of comments busting on me. I am from the Bronx, New York, and I talk with my hands and I say everything wrong, especially all these Scandinavian names and words. I tried to pronounce the new single title from Kylan Mikla, this Icelandic synth punk band that I love. I cannot, it's like, I couldn't say it. It's like so to do, my mouth won't make the words. I'm trying hard. So I think I held up my phone and Google Translate, say this word. But yeah, I've been getting busted on by fans. Somebody was, there's like a debate going on about my battle vest that I'm not wearing right now, but like, whether it's cool or not and whether I'm cool or not. But anything fun or even like against whatever, I share those things. Anything that's not over the line, I'll share it just because. And I try to answer every comment now. I think there was a period of time where I hadn't kept up with trying to, if somebody takes the time to leave a comment, I'm going to comment back. So I think that's a good best practice for all your socials. May not be possible, but if you can, and you're just working with a small universe, try to be, that's how you engage people, is engage them back. When they took the time to retweet or share or follow you, that matters. That's somebody's time. Even if it's a nanosecond that it took them to click that thing, they did it, you know?
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Really, if someone takes the time to make a comment, to try to acknowledge that comment and comment back. That's a really good piece of advice. Yeah, I remember, that was one thing that was preached about Instagram, is always acknowledge people's comments. But if a band wants to, if a band wants to reach out to you and they want to somehow, get written up in Ghost Cult magazine, how would they go about doing that?
Sure. As I often say, I can't get to everybody. I don't make any promises because the crush of constant stuff filling up my inbox is ever present. I went 8 hours without checking my email Friday, and I had 1,000 emails sitting there. And I check my email like 10 minutes every hour, like once an hour for 10 minutes. So if people want to contact Ghost Cult, there's an About Us section of our website at ghostcultmag.com. On the contact section. There's a giant, people couldn't figure out how to do it. And I think at one point I had one of those, like I had a link that would take you to your email filled out already to answer, but people couldn't figure that out on their phones. So I literally put a giant button on the page that says contact us. And that is the button. Other socials like Twitter and Instagram have a link tree. Send us your music. There's a link there. And I don't presently have someone on staff. We used to have like especially when we had the magazine, we had like the unheralded, unsigned bands, indie bands, truly indie, not come to us recommended by publicists we know or friends or whatever. I actually try not to write about my bands that have my friends that are in bands, because I don't want to be too biased. If I do have somebody I know that's coming up in a band, I'll give it to someone else to review, so I don't touch it personally, except to post it. And there is a cool thing that we do on Twitter, for those watching, is that we have a pinned post on our Twitter account at Ghost Cult Mag, where we do what we call the GC shout out in our YouTubes. So bands that have been just looking for some publicity, just some attention, anything, there's instructions in the tweet, but basically if you follow all our socials and screen grab them and send them to us in a DM, we'll then tag you in one of our future YouTubes. And not only do we tag your band in the video, we put like a little, image of your socials in the video. We then link you in that video, and a couple of like whoever we linked in the Cannibal Corpse video, that video has been seen 8,179 times as of this morning. So that's exposure for free. That doesn't take us it's not hard for us to do. On occasion, I will get to review some albums. I have shared some news pieces from albums. If you have news, I might get to share it. If you want a product unboxing, hit DM me and I'll give you my address. But, I don't leave that out on the internet for obvious reasons. But plus somebody's going to show up at my house one of these days mad about something I wrote about them. We do, the door's open for everybody. I do want to uplift and help underground artists. It is hard to get to everyone. And, the one thing you should think about is most music journalists do this for free. They do it for love. Don't harass. I know your music's important to you. I'm not saying it isn't. Don't feel like you should be harassing a writer because they didn't get back to you because you sent them your music. Obviously, I think most people want to help bands and want to help unsigned bands. Don't be a yutz, don't be a dick. And, you have a better chance of getting noticed and getting shared. It's hard though. Time is a resource I can't make more of. It's the one thing I don't have an abundance of. So there has been in periods of time, if anybody watching this wants to come on and be that guy or gal or person, we used to have a designated person that all they did, I would send them like every request. Can you check out my band? And they would do a monthly column or a roundup article in the magazine or on the site. And it would be like a blurb. And actually one of my bands, I was in that same situation like 25 years ago, where my probably most successful band, of whose music I played the last time I was on with you, in the group, we were shared in Metal Maniacs in like 1998 in a 1-inch blurb, grunt 4-song demo from the Bronx, thrash, hardcore, rock, whatever they called us. So, like I'm sensitive to that. Like that's a big deal. I'm still talking about it. It's a big deal to me. From Metal Maniacs, it's not around anymore. So like I would love to get to everybody. I don't promise anybody that I'm absolutely going to write about you, but if you want to send it in, I will at least see that you did and check it out. And I obviously follow everybody on Bandcamp possible. I think I'm maxed out on Facebook following right now. Like I have like over 5, like I think the max for an individual is capped now at 5,000. You can only have 5,000 friends and you can only like 5,000 brands. So I probably have to go through and unlike some stuff, but I try whenever possible to uplift everybody I can.
Yeah. Yeah. And that sounds like a good opportunity for someone to help you out with that. And I've noticed a lot of bands they're not on Twitter. Do you recommend that they get on there?
Yeah, absolutely. You should be squatting, even if you don't have the time. You should be squatting every social channel possible on the chance that someone's going to talk about you and want to tag you. there are a lot of bands with the same name. Here's another problem. Like Google is your friend, Bing is your friend, Metal Archives is your friend, even if you don't like some of the stuff they do or they don't cover a certain genres or not metal to Metal Archives. You know, do some research, try to make your band a unique name as possible. And if it's not, and you have the same name as a bunch of other bands, try to have some kind of identifying thing in your social media that makes you, you. It's not great English, but that's, you know, considering I just said what a writer I am, but yeah, you need something that's intrinsically yours. So for example, Plague Years is a band on E1 Music. It's very heavy, deathcore band. And I think they're like Plague Years MI for Michigan, because there's already like a Plague Years somebody else. So, you know, if you've thought of a cool name, chances are someone else already thought of it. And squat every handle you can, even if you're not going to be active on the channel. Because a lot of times, if I do write about you and you're not monitoring it and you don't have a handle, I'll just put your name in there and I'll tag if you have a record label or a publicist, I can tag them and they'll see it. That's cool. But like, what does it hurt you to create a profile, put like 5 minutes of work in to make a profile correctly? I try to tell this to people, like even my business contacts and entrepreneurs I support as clients, every single opportunity for a touch is a potential fan or a sale, if that's what you do, if you sell stuff. So why would you lose the opportunity? Why would you take the opportunity away from yourself to not squat, at least own your real estate basically on a platform? Listen, it's a lot. It's too many platforms. Not everybody's going to be on Snap, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever, but you need to, you know, own. Prince loved to say that if you're not on top of media is going to be on top of you. So he wasn't necessarily talking about social media, but it applies.
Yeah. Well, what are some of your favorite releases so far this year?
I am so glad you asked that, because I have many. Again, we don't have quite all day, but I really love the Cult of Luna EP. I'm a huge Mark Lanigan fan from the time when he was in Screaming Trees, and I love Cult of Luna. Cult of Luna was my next to last show before the pandemic happened, and I love that band, and I love everything they do. So love that. Love another EP. There seems to be a lot of EPs that I've been digging. I do love the Thou and Emma Ruth Rundle EP that is kind of the follow-up to their full length from last fall, which was one of my favorite records of last year. Haunt from LA area has an awesome new record out, and another new one coming. I don't know how they keep putting out records like every 4 months, but they are. So many. There's a couple that aren't out yet that I have gotten to hear. The new Gojira, which is awesome, it's heavy. The new Cannibal Corpse is coming out soon. It's also super heavy. Boss Keloid has a new album out, just signed to Ripple Music. Thunder Horse is an album I really love. I spent a lot of time with that. So yeah, a lot of terrific stuff out this year, and more to come still. We've just barely scratched the surface on this whole year. And but yeah, there's so much music out there, so much. I spend a good part of my day either listening to new stuff or stuff I love that I just go back to all the time. I did just interview and talk to this band that, if you like post metal and post rock, I interviewed this band Sleeping Dreaming from New York City, and it's Sleaping, spelled that way on purpose. And I just interviewed the whole band. They're like a power trio of post rock, post metal stuff. Very a lot, Rosetta, Caspian, Junius, early Intronaut with a little progressive metal in there, a little Neurosis, a little like right in that wheelhouse between the two genres of like post metal and post rock. And really cool. And there's not a lot of bands like that in New York in particular. New York is such a well-known place for extreme metal and hardcore that, like, if you do something different, you will stand out.
Yeah, that's right up my alley. I wrote that down. I'm going to check them out.
Yeah, they're fun. Fun records, quick. Doesn't stay too long. Just came out a couple of weeks ago, and I just interviewed them. So that'll be coming up probably by the end of April, early May on YouTube.
Yeah, kind of, I think may possibly be in the same vein. A band called Lume, Lume, out of
Mm.
Chicago. They just put out a record that I really, really like. It's kind of that post rock atmospheric. Yeah, that
Nice.
really good. Yeah. And
Waiting for a new Pelican record. Speaking of Chicago, so those are my
oh
guys. I
yeah.
love Pelican more than most human beings, and at least as much as their moms and significant others and pets. So like, I love that band. I've followed them forever. I once traveled like 2 states away to go see them on a like. I followed them once for a weekend, like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, like not in that order, but like, yeah, I did that like loop one time to go follow them. And even though they played the same set list, all 3 shows, I just wanted to be there. That's how much I love those guys. Junius is a band. They're also apparently working on a new record. So Loom, I will check them out. Yeah, Chicago is like one of the cradles of post rock. So it's always a pleasure. I don't know why there's some commotion going on with neighbors and dogs, but which means my dog will start barking any second now. So
Yeah. Well, it's do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Again, there's very few things like this whole experience of this last year has taught me not that I took anything for granted because life is short, but the opportunity to just, if you like something, if you like a genre, if you feel an affinity to a scene or a band, open up your heart and open up your wallet and try to support them. A lot of bands, a lot of bloggers and websites, a lot of creatives, a lot of people just in the community are hurting. I just said this somewhere else. Don't ask for your friends to put you on a guest list. Chances are, for what my field is, our opportunities to go to shows is going to lessen because bands can't really afford to pay for a ticket for you to get in. So if you can buy some merch from somebody right now or in the future, if you could pay for yourself to get in when you used to get in free all the time because your friend is in the band, think about the venue, think about the band, think about who you can help. Your group helps people, helps bands promote themselves and build like a little more following than they had yesterday, which is wonderful. I'm trying to do that. Obviously, like you have to cover a certain amount of mainstream. When you do what I do, you have to cover when Corey Taylor thinks something or says something. You have to cover Five Finger Death Punch when they put out a video. You have to cover Godsmack, unfortunately, or Stained, unfortunately. So you can cover like Ripple Music. So I can cover bands on Cruz del Sur. So I can cover bands on these underground labels, Pelagic, that I care about, that have the bands I care about. So, support with your dollars, not just your views. And a fun thing that I like to do is listen, if you love a band or you want to just support somebody, go like not just like bomb all their stuff, like their whole Instagram profile, or go to their YouTube if they have a lot of videos and just hit play all on a playlist, and you can walk away from your computer on mute and just have it play. And the same thing with Spotify. Look, Spotify is an awareness engine, so the more people paying attention to the bands you like, the better. So just put your playlist on and walk away. There's no reason you don't have if you happen to be able to listen to music and watch also, cool. Like and comment, cool. But just get out there and support by any means necessary. And if you don't have the money, I'm sure you listen to music and you have time. Just be thoughtful, share it with your friends. If you know somebody that might like somebody, let them know, share that love, because really, we've had some dire times. They're not going to come right back. It's going to take years to get our music scene back even close to what it was. And obviously that hill to climb is always much steeper for rock and metal.
Yeah, and I just saw Bandcamp has a new thing on their app where you can download music to your phone now. I think it's only on iOS right now. I have an Android, so I can't do it, but hopefully it'll be coming to Android soon too. That's really super cool.
Same. I'm a huge lover of Bandcamp. Every Bandcamp Friday, I have tried to go out there and vote with my dollars and support whoever I can. When we do our weekly roundup of new albums, this is a feature. It goes cold. It's in my video on YouTube. It's in my website on a post. Usually, I will use the Bandcamp link almost always, 9 times out of 10, except for the biggest bands that don't have one. I will use the Bandcamp to promote the bands. I will follow everyone with my own fan account. And even contests that we're running currently, which is another thing people can sign up for. We're doing a big merch giveaway, like t-shirts from Season of Mist and music from 20 Watt Tombstone, who's been a Happy Hour with Heather participant, and other groups, and merch and pins and patches and stickers and all kinds of stuff. And I went to Bandcamp, and a couple of bands that were having a sale on Bandcamp Friday, I just bought a bunch of their stuff to throw into the prize packages, because I was like, this is two birds with one stone. I can help bands, I can promote those bands, and I give it away free to fans. So all for just basically a quick question, a 1-minute questionnaire and an email. But yeah, I love Bandcamp. They do vinyl pressing now. They're doing live streaming now. So Bandcamp is definitely the future. I'm also an Android guy, so I don't have an iPhone yet, but I love to see where they're going with the platform. And like I said to people, you have to understand that the music industry is always going to be corporate and brutal, but we can also support those who need to be uplifted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like you said, open up your heart, be kind to others. Spread the
Sharing
love.
is caring. Spread the love. Start sounding like a hippie, but I tend to find hippies and kick their hacky sacks into the gutter. But that's what I like to do. But yeah, it's important. This is a really tough time. Think about your favorite. There are bands that are going to break up because of this period of time in the world. There are bands that will never tour again because of this stuff. There are labels going under. There are venues going out of business. And there are bloggers and writers and photographers who are probably going to give this up, because just this whole gap of what's happened, as well as what the future looks like. Like I said, I used to do a lot of concert photography. I still will do some in the future, but maybe some less so. I don't know what it looks like when we get back. So I just want to support as much as I can, however I can.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today to speak with me. I always appreciate, you sharing your knowledge with people and everything that you do. And thanks a lot for doing this with me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I adore the group. I appreciate you so much. And I will send you some links in a few minutes to share along with this. And if anybody wants to give us a like and a follow, I will follow you back. Send your music to me from your band, enter my contest, sign up for our marketing challenge, dirt cheap or free, have whatever you can pay. And let's all help each other along as we try to get through this thing called life.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Heather. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.